Will Harry Maguire be fit for the final? Last chance for Raheem Sterling? And why you need to avoid Heung-min Son. This is the Fantasy Football Cheat Sheet, and before we crack on, with just 3 game weeks to go, it seems like an appropriate time to mention that Dream Team's very popular Euros game will be back. And with a £50,000 jackpot for the overall winner, so don't even think about not signing up for it. The treatment room. Okay, what's the story regarding injuries for game week 36? There's no fracture for Harry Maguire, which is a boost for United and England after a big scare at the weekend. Of course it wasn't broken. Slab is a pretty tough material. I'm assuming his whole body is slab, right? Not just his head. Given the importance of the Europa League and Euros, it's unlikely we'll see him in the Premier League again this season. Another centre half with injury worries ahead of a European final is Andreas Christensen. He pulled his hammy battling with Jesus at the weekend, so he'll be hoping for a miracle. Tuchel is optimistic he'll make it for the Champions League final, and they'll be hoping he's fit. He was instrumental in their 2-0 win over Madrid alongside Rudiger and Thiago Silva. 2 goals in 2 starts, and then Callum Wilson gets injured again. This is now his 3rd thigh injury of the season. Not great signs for someone with a very checkered past when it comes to injuries. Steve Bruce confirmed the next time we see Callum Wilson will be next season. Probably for someone better than Newcastle. Sheffield United at home is one all us fantasy football fans will be eyeing up. If fit, James Rodriguez will be a great shout for your dream teams. And judging by Ancelotti's response at the weekend, he could well be ready for it. So let's hope he gets the eyebrows up. Sorry, thumbs up. With Ollie Watkins suspended, Jack Grealish could be forced straight in from the start. And it'll be in his interest to start, especially with Southgate looking at every avenue to not take him to the Euros. Although having missed 12 games through injury, it's unlikely we'll see him starting at least until game week 37. Aston Villa play Everton tonight, so keep your eyes on the whereabouts of both Grealish and Rodriguez. Finally, rest in peace Aaron Cresswell's leg. That's right, he suffered a dead leg at the weekend, which was a much better outcome than first feared. We're pretty confident he'll be back for their trip to the seaside on Saturday. Key fixtures. With much of the Premier League table already set in stone, we're focusing on the games where teams still have something to play for. And don't forget, Man United, Leicester, Chelsea and Arsenal all have a week off. Feels like Arsenal have been off all season. Come on. It was a tapping. West Brom v Liverpool. Liverpool registered their first victory with a clean sheet for over a month in game 1 of the current game week, and we're expecting much the same against newly relegated West Brom. I can hear Andy celebrating from here. Liverpool, of course, play Man United later tonight in game number 2. Despite much improvement under Allardyce, West Brom have only picked up 2 points in the past 4 games and will not be looking forward to life in the second tier next season. The reverse fixture finished 1-1, Semi Ajayi scoring an 82nd minute equaliser in what was Big Sam's second game in charge of the Baggies. Sadio Mane is the one to watch. He has 2 and 2 going into tonight's game against Man United and also scored against West Brom at Anfield. Mo Salah is still vying with Harry Kane for the Golden Boot and he has 2 in his last 3 games against Albion. Brighton v West Ham. The past 4 meetings between the sides have ended in a score draw, and actually the Hammers haven't beaten Brighton since a 6-0 back in 2012 in the Championship. Ricardo Vaz-Tey took home the match ball that day. Mark Noble, of course, the only survivor from that fixture in the current sides. He's been around a while. But Brighton will be without Dunk, Maupay and any motivation with their season now concluded. Any motivation? Where does he play? Brighton have lost to Sheffield United and Wolves in the past 3 games and have 1 win since March. Despite 3 losses and 4 for West Ham, they will be clear favourites here. Brighton have only won 3 games at the Amex all season. Jesse Lingard is now 3 games without a goal, his longest drought since joining on loan. It still leaves him with figures of 9 goals in 13 games and the best goals per game ratio in the league. So still pretty good. Spurs v Wolves. The Matt Doherty derby. Now, I said I'll focus on teams with something to play for, and we're clutching at straws with Spurs really, but they do still have a mathematical chance of making top 4. Then again, I suppose I still have a mathematical chance of playing for Ireland, which is actually probably more likely. Motivation will still be there from Ryan Mason's perspective, who's looking to show he has the minerals to be a manager at some point in the future. And in the 5 games played since Wolves' Premier League return, both teams have scored in every fixture. And Harry Kane has failed to net in his past 2 starts against Wolves, while Heung-min Son hasn't scored at all against Wolves. Is there a trophy for that, Andy? Wolves' recent form was defined by their 4-0 embarrassment at home to Burnley. But that aside, they've actually picked up 3 wins in 5 games, despite starting with a back 4 of Heung-min, Cody, Aït-Nouri and Hover in their last game. Hover at the back? Would have gone for a sweeper myself. Come on. They might have kept Danny Welbeck quiet in their last game, but there's no way that lot are stopping Harry Kane. Transfers in. Mikel Antonio. Realistically, the Hammers need to win their last 3 games to have any chance of getting top 4. And with games against Brighton, Southampton and relegated West Brom, they've got every chance. Despite injuries this season, Antonio has 9 goals from 21 starts and scored a brace against Burnley in game week 34. He's averaging a goal nearly every other game, and he didn't score in his last game. So you know what that means. Raheem Sterling. Having only played 10 minutes of both the quarters and the semis of the Champions League, there will be genuine concern for Sterling around starting at the Euros. The back end of the season has been lean for Raheem, with his goal against Chelsea his first in the league since February. And he nicked that off Aguero. So it's now or never to remind Southgate what he's all about. And with the title in the bag, City can go out and enjoy themselves in the remaining games, 2 of which are against Newcastle and Brighton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, an absolute must pick as Everton face the simply awful Sheffield United. The Blades have lost 8 of their last 9 and have only scored 2 goals in that time. Unfortunate rhyme. Like Sterling, DCL will want to make one last push for a starting berth at the Euros, which would also require a system change from Southgate, but it's not out of the question. Or he could just play as another DM. Ahead of tonight's game against Villa, he has 2 in 2, and there will be no sentiment as Calvert-Lewin comes up against his boyhood club. Predicted 11s. Right, so you're up to speed with who's available. Let's get some predicted lineups coming your way. Right, that's all from us, but as I mentioned at the start of the show, Dream Team Euros is now available to play. It's the perfect fantasy football game to accompany this summer's tournament, not least because it's free to play and there's a £50,000 jackpot up for grabs. So sign up now, the fantasy never ends here at Dream Team. Let us know what you thought of the show in the comments, tell all your mates about us. We're working hard every week to give you the most informative video on the internet for fantasy football. And let us know what your teams are going to look like. Have you got any obscure picks? How's your season gone so far? Okay, I'm off. Good luck this weekend.